All right, guys, can you hear me? Yeah, okay. Hey, it's been a while since I've been doing a live broadcast. It's Friday night, February 12th, 2021. And guys, remember, success is not final, failure is not fatal, and it's the courage to continue that counts. I thought I'd run down a few things. I think we are seeing a change in the atmosphere towards our governor, and I think I'm pretty sure we all feel like that's long past due. One of the reasons why I haven't been doing live broadcast, guys, and thank you for joining. And remember, the comments, the questions, the shares, anything you guys want to talk about is what it's all about for me tonight. Hey, bud, long time no talk, and thank you for being here. I'm glad that you made it. It's much appreciated. Been working up in your neck of the woods out in the freezing cold, saving the world, building a solar panel farm on top of a landfill. It's actually kind of, and I've got to admit, it's a pretty neat idea. Basically, they capped an old landfill. They put a covering a topsoil on it. It's not like we're ever going to let kids play there, right? It's not like we're ever going to use it for anything other than a wetland or a protected area. So basically, what we did is put, I think, somewhere around 1,700 solar panels on top of this thing at a place where they are already using a lot of electricity to process water. Okay, it's at the water treatment plant in Mechanicville, and guys, it's been a fun episode in my life. Like it's not something I've done a million times, but I am enjoying the work, the labor, figuring out new things, working with new guys, and that's where it's at for me. It's been a good time. Andrew Hamill, how have you been, young man? I don't know, like politics is a blood sport, brother. Like it was fun running. It was fun advocating for a better system of governance. I had a blast. I enjoyed interacting with people like you and Ryan and the group at the Old Guard. And yeah, I think that, it's worthy to bring the issues to the table that we've discussed over the years. Okay. Things about libertarianism, things about liberty, things about freedom from a government that serves its own virtue, guys, and taxes us repeatedly and in depth over and over again to do things for people that I don't think it makes sense for the way that we're trying to live our lives here. And I think we can all agree that no matter what, if we add a little concept of liberty to our current governing system, I don't see how we could go wrong. I don't see how the notion can be flawed in any way possible. They can't take your legs. They can chop them off, right, and give you back a crutch and say, here you go. Look how good you're getting around. And brother, thank you. Your effort, your campaign was an inspiration to every libertarian in New York State. And I think that is epic. I think the effort that you put in was demonstrably amazing, man. And I think you did a great job. And you have Fred Akshar, very popular guy. You put it to him on a few issues. I think he learned something from you. And I think sometimes as libertarians, right at this moment in time, that's the best that we can do. And you did it, bro. You did it. I'm proud to know you. I've been proud to know you and been impressed with all of your effort all the time. And guys, so I haven't been not doing anything political, just haven't been public about the things that I'm doing politically. Certainly serving on the state board for the Libertarian Party at a time when we are amongst obviously a growing number of people. Guys, Governor Andrew Cuomo is going to get sued and sued and sued and sued and sued into oblivion, guys. I mean, hopefully. All right. Because look, I don't even wish ill on the guy, but what's been done, what the media has done, what Andrew Cuomo has done regarding this COVID crisis, it needs to be discussed. It needs to be examined. It needs to be hashed out in court. And good guys, I want to point out something. All right. Back in August, back in September, back in June, back in July, libertarians were saying, guys, we were saying that what his response to COVID, especially regarding the nursing home policy, there was problems with it. It needed to be fixed. He needed to be honest. He wasn't telling the truth. And now finally, guys, we see a break in the ice. We see a crumbling facade. Okay. A crumbling facade. Hi, Warren and Shelley. A crumbling facade around this notion that he was infallible responding to COVID. The notion that the nursing homes wasn't an obvious and horrific blunder based on money. is finally being put to rest. Finally, a Democrat spoke up, a Central New York, upstate Democrat, I believe in the Syracuse area, finally spoke up and has broken ranks with other Democrats. And guys, that's the way that we can do it. That's how these guys in upstate New York, they want to get reelected. They don't just want to lose their position. They like the jobs that they have. They like to be the center of attention, and that's cool. That's what politicians are, and we have to accept that. And guys, that's part of the reason why I do a live broadcast. That's part of the reason why I ran for office, the hopes of becoming someone that you guys could be proud of, someone that could serve our community. I think I would do a better job than the people that we elected. That's fine. I understand where it's at. The libertarian stud. I like that, Bedford. You are, guys, you're still a wordsmith, man. I love it. Keep up the good work, man. Well, hello there to you. And yes, I'm here. And guys, I old guard, I'm paying attention to what you're doing, and I'm impressed. I'm gonna start participating on some level somehow. Like I said, I want to be perfectly honest. There's a little bit of burnout that comes from running for office. I admit it, Queeter, you know, like it's a rough gig, man. You're putting yourself out there every single day. Everybody criticizes you. Everybody wants to help you in a way, but as long as you do it their way specifically, sort of. And I don't even want to criticize the people that support me, because people like Warren and Shelley, oh my God, people like Ryan, people like Queeter and Andrew, guys, you all supported me in one way or another. And my thanks for that. I can't express that adequately. Words don't express that adequately. And so remember, that's why we do it, man. Words, there's this thing that has to happen, this growing of our community, this recognition that there is a better way to governing New York State. It has to happen, and we're working on it. I agree. He's becoming naked, but I'll tell you what, guys, listen, and this is where my skeptical, libertarian, anti-politic nature comes in, guys. I want to be real. Okay. What I'm seeing, okay, is that, guys, a Cuomo aide, all right, a Cuomo aide, guys, a low-level Cuomo aide admits to lying about the nursing home numbers. Guys, it reminds me of a person falling on their sword to sacrifice themselves for their elected leader, for the person that they follow. And so how Andrew Cuomo turns it around, right? Check this out. He goes, oh, look, and literally you guys could check it out. It's on Facebook. It's out there. It's in the news. One of his quotes at one of his news conferences during the lunch hour is, look, they're saying stuff like this because they hate Democrats. So now all the Democrats in New York State feel a call to action. Like, we're attacking this guy because he's a Democrat, and we're attacking Democrats because of a misfunction or a malfunction of what happened in his COVID policy. That, guys, it needs to be covered. And it needs to be exposed. And guys, we marched on Albany. We marched on the Capitol. We were there. There were libertarians there. David St. Onge was there. Dwayne Whitmer was there. I was there. Okay. We made noise on behalf of people like you that realize that Andrew Cuomo makes mistakes. And we made noise that day, guys. We met people from other parties. We met conservatives. We met Republicans. There were Democrats there. The issue was that what he did was being covered up. And so you guys probably, I post a lot of stuff on my Facebook page. You saw the stuff about how and why all of a sudden they're starting to crumble the facade. I'm afraid that it's what's called circling the wagons. You guys know what circling the wagons is, right? Okay. It's when someone's attacked, they circle the wagons and they protect the guy inside. And I think that that's why this aide, a Cuomo aide, admitted to fudging the numbers on his behalf. And of course, they claim because it was fear of federal retaliation. Fear of federal retaliation. Guys, what do you think that means? Like, what are they really trying to say? Are they really trying to say because they're afraid of Trump, right? I mean, isn't that what they're trying to say? Didn't they repeatedly blame this situation on Trump anyway? And guys, we're even though we're making progress, and guys, this is an important point. All right, so bear with me on this one. This one might take a while to develop. All right. So even though the facade is crumbling, even though we're getting information about the nursing home deaths, there's still things that have not been answered about the COVID crisis. Okay. And there has to be answers. Data can provide those answers. They're not releasing the data. So what am I trying to say? New York City was still a disaster when it came to COVID. It was one of the worst places in the world to experience COVID. There are legitimate scientific answers to that are being being suppressed, I believe. Okay, and again, here we go. I'm going to sound like a conspiracy theorist, all right? But the data's there. We know who died. We know what they died of. We know how old they were. We know what race, nationality, what the color of their skin was, okay? We probably also know things like what their vitamin D situation was. We probably know what their general health was, okay? We probably know all of those things, and yet we're not talking about those things because we're still not adequately preparing people for an experience with COVID. We're not offering them real information. And guys, I'm not trying to be a lunatic about this. I'm saying that political correctness stands in the way of adequate communication. And I think that's what's going on still to this day with the COVID numbers. And I'm not saying this on behalf of the Libertarian Party. So if my Libertarian friends don't like what I'm saying, first of all, too bad. Second of all, I'm saying it. Third of all, I don't think I'm a conspiracy nut. Okay. I think we're not getting the truth, and truth doesn't take truth about this situation. The statistics and the data of who died, who and whatever doesn't take years to come out. It's available right now today. They put it in a computer, they punch a few things, they sort of in an Excel program, and boom, they have the answer. I'm telling you, that's the reality. Okay. Yeah. Letitia James turned against him. It's an elected position. And again, I want to be very clear about this, guys. I don't want you to be disappointed. We're still going to have to beat Andrew Cuomo at the ballot box, period. All right. He is not going away that way. The legal system is designed, and the system is designed in a way to protect him. Okay. That's why guys like me talk about ending qualified immunity, because of guys like Andrew Cuomo and others that hide the truth and do make poor decisions. There's going to be no accountability. We're going to have to beat him at the ballot box. All right. And guys, I don't even hate him. I think he was put in a bad spot that it was way over his head. And but I don't really like him. Okay. I want to be honest about that too. And I'm not, guys, my Democratic friends, guys, forgive me. Okay. But what he does to you and what he does to everyone's minds and what the media participates when it comes to him is an issue. It's a real issue. And I hope that you guys can distance yourself, pull back, and see the truth. We're not attacking Democrats. We're saying things were mishandled. We're not getting the right information still, even though the facade is crumbling around Andrew Cuomo. Congratulations to the leaders that are taking that action. Congratulations to them. The guy in Ulster County, guys, is next. Trust me. He's a smart guy. He's a thoughtful guy. He already made noise about breaking away from the Democratic Party and helping get these emergency powers that were granted to him rescinded. But guys, I want to tell you something about the emergency powers. They were granted in the first place. That is a problem. I understood that it needed to be done for a short period of time. We all did. Okay. But they should have sunsetted long before this. We needed a multi-proportionate response throughout the state, not the same response, one size fits all. Here's a number that you guys have to meet, period. That's what we got. That was wrong for our population in upstate New York. We all know that. It's obvious. Okay. You don't have to be a genius to see these things. You don't have to be a data statistical analysis to see the obvious, guys. Thank you, sir. Look at this thing, man. Honestly, that's part of the reason why the beard's been a little patchy, didn't grow in perfectly. It took a while for it to fill in. Guys, I'm working that look of the frustrated 19th century intellectual who says witty things that are now being placed on memes, like guys like George Orwell and going back further, Mises and all of these guys, you know? Okay. Well, thank you, Shelley. Warren and Shelley. Guys, I appreciate that. I do. I want to say that there is a cost to running. Okay. There is a cost. It's an emotional cost. It takes a toll on your family. And guys, my wife, you know, the guys who know my wife, she loves me. I can almost do no wrong as long as I, you know, so she was totally cool with all of it. And my kids were interested, at least a little bit interested in what I was trying to say. So those things, you know, make it possible for me to run again, make me considering running again, make me think about running again. And certainly the notion that the old guard is bringing forth, that we can reclaim locally our issues, to me is the way to start anyway. It almost doesn't matter. I don't even, when it comes to party politics, I have a hard time with it anyway. But doing the right thing is different than party politics. And if we have a party politics and a group of people that want to do the right thing, that's almost more important than a political identity to me. Even though, guys, in my heart, I'm a libertarian. I understand like what libertarianism means, why we are fighting for liberty. To me, that is an important concept. So I would bring that to every discussion that I have about politics. But I think you guys already know that about me, and that's part of why you like me. So that's cool. Well, I know. And guys, let's you know what? Let's blow this up. Let's talk about this a little bit, because I understand that thought. I understand that feeling. And certainly I can remember back when Ronald Reagan got shot, there was this show that came out that was like, hey, this was predicted by Nostradamus and in the Bible and blah, 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 blah. And he lived through this assassination attempt. And maybe he's the Antichrist. And we do this to ourselves as human beings. We come up with creative, and this is no offense to you, Andrew. And I'm glad that you're sharing this with me. Okay. Because it's cool. And it's something that we need to talk about, because we all kind of could chill out just a little bit about our belief systems. Okay. About the things that get us excited. Because and guys, I'm not saying that the Antichrist doesn't exist, and I'm not knocking religion. I want to be clear about that, because I do believe in everyone's individual rights to believe in religion, to believe in what you believe in, and to accept whatever you want to accept. I'm totally cool with that. I totally support that. But so let's talk about how we do these things, right? Think it, and I know you're saying you used to think it, so that's fine. And it's better that you don't think it. Maybe he is, okay, but probably he isn't. All right, probably he isn't. And probably these are things that we do to each other as human beings to motivate each other into action. All right. We scare each other into action. We try to enrage each other into action. And guys, that's one of the reasons why I think politics takes such a toll on me, because even though I get upset and I get outraged at things and I fire off and literally popping off about politics is a true thing, okay, for me, I still want us to proceed with calmness, determination, and appreciation, even for the people that we don't agree with politically. So when we get into things like Antichrist, I think we, Brian LaRusso, guys, every single one of you guys should friend Brian LaRusso. Come out and check out what's going on with the old guard, what he's really trying to do, okay, and who he is. And it's like this genuine person who's sharing his success, sharing his goals, and has, I don't know, you've got to meet him. I can't just tell you who he is. You've got to meet him, and you'll be glad that you did. I agree with that. So again, that also going back to the Antichrist thing, we still have to proceed calmly and say, yes, there is what appears to be some sort of intentional cover-up, some sort of intentional mishandling, and definitely a political football was made out of the COVID situation that they didn't want to loosen up the reins until after the election, guys. And they wanted to always everyone to be pointing their finger at Donald Trump, like one person caused this whole mess. And guys, there's no way that that's true. That's not even a rational adult way of approaching a problem. All right. So yes, if it isn't a mistake, it's intentional. And if they tried to hide it, they deliberately tried to hide it, which they obviously did. Who's going to fall on their sword? The lowest level aide that they can find. That person will not, they may lose the job they have now, but down the road, they will get a job with whatever party, the person they're supporting with. They will make a lot of money. They will be well rewarded, well taken care of. And their mistake will be written off as human error, even though we all know that the mistake was bigger than that, right? The mistake was massive. There's supposed to be what's called journalism, the fifth estate. They're supposed to cover things like this. We're supposed to be able to trust them. And obviously, guys, over the years, we know we can't. And it's because they're desperate for money and they're competing with idiots like me on social media. Like if you're not watching Fox or CNN right now and you're watching me, guys, they're not making any money out there advertising, guys. And so they're desperate. I agree with that. All right. I agree in a sense with that, but without trying to be directly insulting towards him. I think he's a good person. I think he has a good heart. I think he's okay, right? As a human being, all of those things. I think that, but he's not a conservative. He's not a smaller government guy. He's let's collapse the schools together. Let's do this together. Let's give money to a land trust together. Let's do this together. Let's do that together. And guys, those are the things that we have to move away from. And guys, one of the things that I've been working on is this issue about land trusts and what happens when a county just gives land to a land trust, and how that's supposed to work out, and whether it worked out this way in our county or not, and whether it's technically a legal operation. Like, shouldn't that land? And they did it this year, and they've done it in previous years. And guys, you know how I feel about my man Robert Forrest. Guys, if you get a chance, go to Robert Forrest Farm, SaveTheForestFarm.com. Check out his story. He's not alone, okay, in what has happened here in Otsego County. There are other people. And guys, we just last night we were talking to a guy, and I don't know if how much I should give out and how much I shouldn't give out, but libertarians are very interested in personal property rights, because that's it. It's a right granted to us in the Constitution. If we don't have that right, where does our society go? All right. And it goes to collectivism. Okay. It goes to looking to our government for answers for everything. And we're kind of halfway there. You know what I mean? Like, it's scary. So let's see. Here we go. When I change to a banner or something like that, I put up the Forest Farm, I lose track of where the comments are. So we are going to try to find out where I left off. Okay. Here it is. Andrew's comment. Yes, we did. And it's happened. And again, like I said, like, there's a science to this. There's a predictability to this. And I remember, and again, this is sad. This is tragic. We didn't handle that piece right. And why didn't we? Okay. And why don't we have answers as to why New York City was 10 times worse than the whole rest of the world practically? Why don't we have those answers? And guys, these are answers that we should have. These are the answers that our legislators should be seeking for us, that our Fifth Estate, the journalists, should be seeking out for us, and they don't. And the only ones seeking them out are conservatives and libertarians, and that's a reality, okay? Everybody else just wants to go along and get along, man. All right. Yes, they want and they did. The feds are going to, okay? They're covered. $55 billion in bailout for New York State, guys. And that's for 1 year. You heard me predict it. The government was trying to say it was going to be $15 billion. And Larry Sharp, other guys, you could go to the state budget office and see that they weren't presenting that story accurately. And so now we like the beard. All right, cool, man. All right. Yes, I love it, man. I love it. You can say that. I love it. And keep saying it, man, because they are, man. But guess who else wants the emergency powers rescinded, guys? That's correct. The mayor of New York City, Bill de Blasio, wants the emergency powers rescinded. So there is a crumbling facade here. And it goes back to, I'm sure it goes back to, guys, I don't know. If you paid attention, I shared with a bunch of you a Twitter comment by Andrew Cuomo, where he was selling out Bill de Blasio to a group of Jewish rabbis in New York City about his response and how it was a fear-based response to COVID. And that's why he was stopping the Jewish people from holding their worship services on Sunday. And it was epic Cuomo blaming someone other than him and just then rolling on into the next thing to blame someone else for it, and the next mistake. He started it, man. I know, but I will change my Twitter handle again anyway. I don't care. But yeah, I kind of like the beard. This is the first time in my life where I've had this kind of, like I said, this frustrated 19th century intellectual kind of look. And look, this is the longest my hair has been it's got wings and stuff. Like, honestly, I don't know. Find a guy that I look like, but I look like that frustrated 19th century intellectual. I think too much that my hair can't even stay still. That's the deal. It just floats off into the wind. And I do think too much, guys. I really do. Not gonna lie. I agree, Doreen. And guys, it's weird because all they have to do is make their constituents feel attacked, and they close ranks. Okay. So when we're having a debate about masks, and we can take a look at the correlation of mask mandates, and we can see the rise in COVID. Okay. All right. So correlation is not causation. I get that. Believe me, I know enough. I took enough statistics in college, guys, to understand that. But what there is a correlation to, guys, and this is why upstate New York should not have been closed down in the summer at all. And guys, I predicted this on a different show, and several times on different shows, that we would be peaking COVID now because it was the only thing to have happen, because we isolate people from each other in the summer, where no matter who you are, this is science, guys, your immune system is healthier in the summer, no matter what. It's not even by accident, by whatever. Viruses can't live as long in weird places during the summer, okay? They're not going to live on your countertop as long in the summer. They're not going to live on a handrail as long in the summer. And all that is common sense, guys. That's that, but it's also science, all right? So and your healthy body in the summer, it's not fighting the cold, it's not fighting the dust in your house, it's not fighting the dry air in your house. Okay, these things are science. All right, this is an opinion. This isn't some whacked out homeopathic theory. Okay, vitamin D deficiency is not a whacked out homeopathic theory. They've been putting vitamin D in milk since 1918 because it's an antiviral bone growth mechanism and body health mechanism. That's why they did it. Okay, that's why. So anyways, yes, I lose track. Sorry guys, I got a little bit worked up there. Yeah, it is 2020, not 1950. That's correct, Thomas Daniel Queter, for sure. Larry Sharp, guys, I talked to Larry a couple times. I called into a radio show he was on the other day. Yeah, I don't know. I'm like, is he really gonna run? Is he gonna really run? I don't know, man. I don't know. And no matter what, guys, I'm telling you that there's an emotional toll to running that is powerful, painful, and I'm sure that it's better to win than it is to lose, but there's still stress associated with that. So he has a more realistic picture of what it would take to win New York State, and he's not going to run to lose a second time, even though he may run knowing that there's a good chance he'll lose, because he's on the side of the Angels, he's on the side of justice. Okay. The only reason I chose what is due to I know. Well, didn't you move into Oneonta, or did that not happen? I don't want to give out all your personal stuff on my show, bro. But I know, and listen, everybody understands that. Even though I think you could still change your mind if you want to, and if you're still in Maryland, maybe you should. But that's up to you. I think you would be a great addition. And I know, Andrew, I know that you wrestle with what party you want to be a part of, and I understand that. And that's okay to me. But the Libertarian Party wants you here, wants you back, however you want to look at it. But that's up to you, man. And guys, yeah, there's some trouble with the Libertarian Party and its certifications in New York State, but we're fighting that on a legal front, and we may or may not win. I don't know. I know that the guys that are fighting that battle are effective, efficient, and I believe that we have a pretty good chance of winning that battle. All right. No beard. Tommy, I'm glad you're here, man. I almost reached out to you like private message to see if you're around because I haven't seen you post in the last couple of days. I just wanted you to come by and say hi. You're important to me. Yeah, let's go into this one. Andrew, you're making a lot of great comments tonight, okay? And I appreciate it. And so I have things on my list, but you're kind of matching up with my list, so that's good. It wasn't a proportional response, and finally now we're getting to the county Department of Health leaders, executives can make the decisions locally as to whether a school sports or not. Fine, I guess it's a step in the right direction, but then we go ahead and have a superintendent or two or three or whatever say no sports anyway, and hopefully we can have sports in a month or two. So I don't know what metrics they're basing it on. I don't think that the reality is that we should be punishing our children anymore as far as school goes. And guys, I did on my list, guys, don't let me forget this one. We've got to talk about this one. I have a solution. I'm not the one that came up with it, but I'm telling you, it's one more area. And you guys know I love to talk about areas where New York State, okay, where New York State is actually no longer leading. Okay. And let me get to that. But let me handle a quick few comments first. Listen, if it comes down to it and you're running and I'd probably give you a ride anyway. Like if I'm not building some sort of major 700-acre solar farm, getting paid rate by the, I don't know. But yes, brother, I'll be there for you when you run again. Don't worry about it. We'll work things out. Principles. Yes. Principles over party. That's correct. And localization is a principle that a lot of people can agree on. And there's a lot of Democrats that feel that localization is important. I guess I don't want to knock them. They want to signal their virtue. It's different than what conservatives and libertarians want. And a lot of libertarians like to signal virtue too. So don't get me wrong. And sometimes signaling virtue is okay, but principles over party is a concept that we should all talk about, right? We should all talk about, because I ran across some information again in my political readings. We can talk about what local communities can accept and can't accept from the government. This isn't something that we're making up. It's legally bona fide activity. There is. One of the things that goes in the wrong direction, Dorian. And guys, thank you for what the high school with Dorian. I think if it's who I think it is, but guys, the issue, so much goes wrong. We go in the wrong direction all the time, and that's all based on the emotionality thing that I was talking about earlier. I think, in my opinion. Shots, yes, back in the day. Yes. Here we go. Let's see. I lost track again. Here we go. Let me get back to him. All right, guys. Laird, Waterboy Waterworks. Guys, my buddy Laird from over in Norwich. If you need a well over that way, give him a call, man. I'm telling you what. For a school, I know. I don't like them. One of the most valid things that schools can provide, guys, is sports, music, and those kind of things. And we realize now that schools can find a workaround from in-school education. It may not be as effective, but we can't find a workaround for sports, communal activities, music, plays, all of those things. We can't find them. Schools are the place for them. And maybe we can work them out down the road. After 2023. I don't know what that's to. Maybe that was to somebody else. Vic, what's going on? Okay. I get that not New York State, Vic, and you know that, okay? We've had this conversation, and I don't mean to knock you. New York City, okay? Not New York State. Guys, we didn't have 150 COVID positive cases until September, okay? November, all right? So not New York State, Vic, and this is with all due respect to you. I know you're on the front lines on some level. I know that you're a doctor. I respect that. I hopefully I'm not being too emotional in my response to you, okay? But yes, New York City, that could be a reason why, okay? I could buy into that, all right? I know. There was a time where there was a moment there where we almost came together like 9/11, you know, and then whatever, craziness. You're in, brother. You're in. Big tech. But they do, man. They mess with you. I enjoyed it. Yes, please, guys. And so when I'm whining a little bit tonight, guys, just bear with me, all right? Because I did enjoy it overall, and I enjoy doing stuff like this. All right. So look, here's the thing. One thing I got to mention, guys, I forgot to mention, and it was important. It's on the top of my list because I changed my doctor this week and this past month. And guys, you saw me do a show with Dr. Mark Barretto. I want to say it was back in July, maybe August. But first of all, he's entertaining, captivating, humorous. Was a Democrat. I think he's now registered libertarian. I'm not sure. Whatever he wants to be is his deal. He could not get along with this systemized structure of medicine that we're getting every time we go to the doctor. And guys, I like the doctor that I had. She's a nice person, but every time I went, it was like more questions, more systems, more this, more that. And they kept like saying, oh, the new computer is going to make everything better. It didn't make anything better. I went to a new doctor. He was immediately able to change my medicine to something that benefits me better. And honestly, maybe it's like psychological, but I think I feel better. And as some of you guys know, I have a medical condition that requires a certain amount of medicine for a certain issue. And so whatever, the medicine that he's got me on now, I feel better. I like it. I'm happy. All right. And so Dr. Mark Barretto, right down in Otsego, his office is in the basement of his house. Guys, it reminds me of when I was a kid and you have a doctor and you go to the doctor and like half of his house is your doctor's office and you go in and he gives you gives you a pretty good workout that he makes fun of you for being a wimp or he makes fun of you for not being a wimp or whatever. It's like they get to know you and it feels human to me. It's a more human experience. And Dr. Mark and I read through my medical history and we got to talk about that. And guys, it was a very enjoyable situation, was non-confrontational. And sometimes my doctor that I had would get confrontational with me because I there are certain things that I don't want to participate in on a yearly basis. Some of you older guys like me know what that is. And so she would get mad at me and like, that's fine. I get it. But I don't know. Right? I don't know about this year shit. Like, I don't know. I know. I appreciate that thought, man. I really do. And I appreciate that, man. I agree. It's based on fear of losing their job. It's based on fear of people getting angry with them. You're right about that, Vic. You know that. I know. Look at that, guys. I'm telling you. Hey, look at that stuff. The gray wings. My kids were just like, Dad, we didn't even know you could grow hair. That's crazy. And then they're like, look how it's gray outside of your hat and dark under your hat. What's up with that? I'm like, I have no idea. All right. Still trying. All right. All right. Here, let's go with this. Just don't grow a ponytail. Guys, I've already got that kind of a mullet. I could do the mullet thing pretty easy. Just I don't have anything up top, so it wouldn't be a perfect mullet. It would be a reverse mullet. Okay, which I am a member of. I'm a champion for that. Okay, good. That's fine, Andrew. I appreciate that. Oh, you're gonna have to tell me more about that, but I'll touch base with you face to face. I what's gonna happen, guys? Look, I've played the stocks. I've done it. All right, I'm telling you right now. We have devalued the money. We're going to continue devaluing the money. It's why Bitcoin is $45,000 a Bitcoin. It's basically a social construct where we agree with people all over the world that this piece of digital currency is worth something. So that's the thing. Okay, that is the number one symptom that it's an obvious sign that we have so far devalued the money that we don't even. It's not even rational anymore. But I don't want to freak everybody out. Don't go. I mean, do what you want. Have some gold, man. Have some hard resources that you can live off of. Yes, get involved. I agree. I know you have, bud. I know. And you and I agreed with that. It shouldn't have closed. It shouldn't have closed the way that it closed. Because we even like a month. I get it, right? It would weirdest situation to strike our country in my lifetime. Weirder than 9/11. Not as traumatic, obviously more deadly. So yes, there was an amount of rational response that was appropriate. I think that we've gone too far, man. You know, school superintendent Skavis has said the merger will help lower taxes. I know it won't lower taxes. Okay, it won't. Okay, don't dream. Don't that it taxes, school taxes, guys, never go down. All right, and no taxes ever go down. I swear to God. Thank you for being here, Brian. Who, me? Nah, the lady that's in my section does a good job, man. Yeah, and here's I know. Here's a good investment for everybody. All right. Okay, so a solution I want to champion today, besides Dr. Mark Barreto, guys, if you get a chance, you join up. If the situation works for you, you call him, you find out what he has to offer. I'm telling you, old school medicine with a guy that, like, look, you're supposed to grow with your doctor and your lawyer. We've lost that in our society now. Everything's too systemized. It's too busted. All right. This guy, if you have a business, guys, and you can't really afford health insurance, but you can negotiate something with Dr. Mark. All right. Try it. At least talk to him. I tell you what, he's a great conversationalist no matter what. All right. So, yeah, look, get back in the saddle, man. I'm here. Like, I haven't given up, guys. And I have been working on things. All right. Like, not 100% with the amount of energy that I did with the race and with what I was doing. Okay. But there's still work being done. There's still angles to approach things at. There are still pet peeves that I have that I want to fix. And we found a way that some of these things, at least we can attack them head on. And that's by collaborating, just like you guys are doing, collaborating with other groups. There's things about workers' comp policy that libertarians would love to see changed so that A, more people get covered with workers' comp, and B, it's a straight up fair system for everyone. Okay, there's less fraud, there's less expense. More people will actively buy workers' comp policies and be able to afford them because, guys, as a contractor, guys, I couldn't imagine hiring a kid, having them get hurt, and then me being responsible for the medical bills somehow, some way, and me going bankrupt and not even be able to pay their medical bills. Now, workers' comp is a good way to take care of that stuff. The problem with it in New York State is it's a corrupt, broken, weird, strange, poorly written system that is too expensive. And it, number one, incentivizes people to not have workers' comp, okay, and to not develop legitimate business relationships where they have employees, but they're not really employees. So those kids eventually end up in lots of trouble with the federal government because they don't pay taxes. All right. And then they're also not covered with workers' comp. So they get a stick in their eye or they cut a piece of metal or whatever. And they go to the hospital and they're out thousands of dollars, and either you pay that or you got to fight it out. Like, look, we have a solution to fix that. We have ways to fix that, and we're going to try. And we're going to need help from people, issue-based legislation, and possibly litigation. This guy I talked to sounded pretty excited about it. Garrett to Maine. What's up, my brother? How are you, man? So I've been promising this one thing I want to talk about when it comes to school. Okay. All right. So here's the deal. And again, it's a place like New York State, guys. New York State, guys like Cuomo, guys, a lot of Democrats, people in the city. Okay. They want to pretend that New York State is like on a different level than the rest of the country. Okay. That somehow what they do is better. Somehow what they do is vanguard. Somehow what they do leads the way. And there are people in New York City that think like us. All right. And they're cool and they're smart and they're fun and they're regular and they work and they do all that stuff. Okay. But here's the deal, guys. You can look at Kentucky, West Virginia, and Wisconsin, and they are doing something with their educational systems that I think would change the dynamic of education in New York State. And no, I don't think it would. It would. I guarantee it. So what they're doing, and this is something Larry Sharp has talked about, and I want to take it to a different level, and I want to point out again, like weed legalization, like marijuana legalization, guys, okay? New York State is not leading anything. All right. And as a matter of fact, we're embarrassingly behind the times. So what these guys have done is wrote legislation, and Wisconsin has already passed the legislation. If I remember correctly, I talked with a guy from Wisconsin on a podcast back in, again, I don't know, this might have been going all the way back to June. But what they do is write laws. The education grant, like, and guys, you're still going to have to pay school taxes, and school taxes aren't going to go down unless we really, 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 really figure out a way to change things. Okay. All right. And I'm all for that. Don't get me wrong. All right. So what they do is they write the law in such a way that the student themselves, and guys, this already exists in New York. Okay. There's special needs students that money follows them. All right. And so if money follows all of our students, and it doesn't necessarily have to be associated with a school. Okay. The money follows the student. Schools are going to get competitive. And guys, teachers, I know you don't like the sounds of this. All right. But let me just tell you that Cuomo hates this teachers union in New York State anyway. All right. Your pension, guys, even though you helped him defeat the Constitutional Convention, your pension is still at risk. Okay. It still is. Perhaps with all the bailouts, fine. I hope for your sake, because of your dedication, that your pension doesn't get chopped off and thrown away. But let me just say that it's possible, all right, that's going to happen. And based on the numbers, it is more than possible. All right. Love Dr. Mark. Yes, me too. Yes, absolutely. So basically, again, let me finish the thought for you guys. All right. So why it's important, why we want to talk about it. The grants or the accounting, it follows the student. So like, look, I think that what we want our kids to be well-rounded, but we have to accept that some of our kids are more athletic than some of other kids. Okay. Some of our other kids want to do more in plays and musics and stuff like that. And some of them aren't interested in that stuff at all, but they still need activities, guys. So schooling could get more specialized. Schooling would be more competitive because that money is following the student, and it would then gauge students' interests, and things like Common Core would almost have to fall by the wayside. All right. Because no kid is actually interested in learning math through Common Core when they can go and do and get the right answer, but still get counted half off because they didn't write the chart correctly. That's a ridiculous concept. All right. And it happens. All right. So, and guys, this isn't to disrespect teachers. This is to recognize that New York State is behind the times. They're behind Kentucky. They're behind West Virginia. They're behind Wisconsin. And guys, the difference in our performance based on how much we spend, honestly, education in Kentucky is a better buy. It costs way less, like a third less than what it costs in New York State. And they're 30th and we're 25th. Like, it's so basically we have to explore new concepts if we want to remain competitive anyway. All right. And guys, I throw numbers out there without having them written down. I see the pushback already. Yes. There is rights to push back. We have to have people in there willing to push back, and they do craft agreements. New York State does craft agreements that continues this notion that we serve the state versus the state serves us. Okay, so how would I explain that? All right, and we can use a school example. Okay, the governor says, all right, this is how much teachers have to get paid. And all the teachers go, oh, look, that sounds good. And the superintendent says, and he's like, this is how much superintendents have to get paid. And they all look to him then. And instead of their local community saying, look, we can't really afford to pay you $400,000 a year. We can only afford to pay you $200,000 a year. But they're like, Cuomo's already standardized our rates of pay. We don't even have to listen to you. And that's a growing phenomenon. That's a real phenomenon. And it seems to be getting worse in New York. And I think you guys all kind of have felt it. Like that there's an issue. And I'm not, and again, man, this is trying to walk a fine line because there's lots and lots of teachers that are really dedicated, okay, that are sad about this thing, that realize that this response to COVID isn't in children's best interest, okay? They realize that. But they're powerless because their contracts go upward and upward and upward, and they're served by upper levels of government institutions, okay? So that's the reality, all right? That's who writes the rules, and that's who, in their mind, writes the checks. It's not our money, even though, our local community provides, let's say, $12 million to Milford, even though that $12 million, they then layer on another couple of $1 million from the lotto funds and from other state agencies, okay? So for that extra money that they get, that's who gets to write all the rules. And to me, that's a problem, all right? And I think that's obviously, to us, people that understand the concept of localization, that people know that we can craft great solutions for our kids. No, okay, that's one of the communication problems. All right, that's when your superintendent doesn't want to listen to you. That's why, like, that's not how we do things. That's not the law. When your superintendent is well versed in the law to answer your complaints, he's obviously not serving your community. Okay, like that means, and guys, sometimes your complaints are crazy. Sometimes my complaints are crazy. We're not perfect, okay? Like, that's not what I'm saying either, all right? So let's laugh at each other. Let's enjoy this, but that's also real. So whatever. I think that's a good idea. I thought Meg Kennedy was my representative, or do we have the same representative, Brian Lou? So that stuff gets a little bit confusing to me anyway, to be perfectly honest. But that, if she wasn't running, that's who I believe serves this area as well. Yes. Yeah. And guys, I warned you before the election, like, if Trump loses, I said it was because of him doing the most libertarian thing of all, and that was allowing us to import drugs from other countries that crushed this political pharmaceutical slush fund, period. All right. I'm not joking. Oh, good for you, man. Fantastic. Thank you for doing that, Garrett Dumaine. I think that's great. I really do. Yeah, and they do. They dismiss us all because of that dynamic that I'm talking about. They have to serve the state first. The rules, the state says, here's these rules, and we don't have to follow those rules. All right. The Article 9 in the New York State Constitution, Greens understand it, Democrats understand it, and we have to understand it better. We don't have to do what they say. That the other parties use it as an advantage to advance their programs. We can use it to fight these programs. It's the same concept. The money, what that was to follow. Yeah. And again, it's a repeating occurrence for this top level decision making. And Creeder, I know you know what I'm talking about, man. It's this top level government decision making that they say, and you tell the story better than me, and we're gonna have to talk about the stories again. That the things that you have been through, with respect to your disability and the grants that you've received, and how you would much rather be able to source that money from your local community in creative ways, that you're very comfortable doing that, and that you have done that, and that has been the best benefit that you've gotten, as far as your wheelchair goes, that sourcing it through and not buying it through the government made for a very effective, positive change in your life. And first of all, I love that story, and I think you should tell it out, practically every single day. And it exemplifies exactly what we're talking about. It's what we're talking about with the school district. It's what we're talking about, what they're trying to do with our sheriff's department. It's those things. They make the rules for the little bit of extra money that they contribute to our budget, and mostly they don't. Okay, like mostly that's a game of smoke and mirrors. But trust me, we'll tell your story again because people need to hear it, and we can do it more often. I know they won't. I know, but it's so funny. That's the funniest thing too, because honestly, Cuomo's kind of anti-teacher union. He basically till till he wants to scare them into behaving and convincing all of the people around them, because they do have powerful voices, right? Teachers do. We do listen to them. We listen to our kids' teachers. We listen to their politics. We appreciate the effort that they put forth on behalf of our kids. So we listen to them. And that's cool. I get it. Like, and I like my kids' teachers. They always, because they do their best to come through for my kids the best way they possibly can. My kids' coaches come through for him, and they're part of the school system. You know, I honestly, like Oneonta guys in Cooperstown, they're actually having a wrestling season this year. They're going to do their best to follow protocol. And TJ was like really on the fence about wrestling, and then he kind of convinced himself to wrestle. And so Milford cancels all schools or all of its sports activities. And I know that's very frustrating, like beyond frustrating, because why can't even in the school, can't they just get modified varsity JV kids and let them play basketball as part of a school activity, because they want to play basketball and they want to get better at basketball. So it's in part of the enclosed school. I know, whatever. I know the blah, 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 whatever. But other bigger schools are doing it. Okay. Unitigo said no to wrestling, but is playing basketball. So like, I get that there's still caution called for, but these kids, I don't care what anybody says, check the science, guys. Kids are not affected by COVID practically at all. All right. You hear random anecdotal stories about a kid having long COVID or some other stuff. Okay. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. That stuff is anecdotal. It's one in a freak show. It's a manipulative political sham. All right. So whatever, man. I don't mean to lose my mind. All right. They are, yes. They're out there. So you gotta kind of search for them. Everybody's talking about it. Finally, they were suppressing all the YouTube information about that there was going to be obvious comorbidities with the shutdown of the schools, with the increase of people using drugs, with the increase of depression. Yes, all of those things are real, guys. Okay, and guys like me get lucky because, like, first of all, depression doesn't really play in. But if I want to go do things, I go do them. I'm not I don't want to go hang out downtown anyway. So like doing things with people that I know, that basically I feel safe, and I don't worry about COVID anyway. I understand the numbers, and I understand my own health. So I think most likely I would either survive it or I wouldn't. Most likely I would survive it based on my own interpretation of my situation. Yes, localized. After blank, yes. I know you do. I know, and that's the thing, that those are the things that we all have in common, guys. The smartest people I know agree with this, that we need to localize our situation. That's the way to answer these expensive virtue signals that all of these politicians want to send. Like, our county board does not need to be virtue signaling at all. They need to be focusing on economic realities in Otsego County. That's it. All right. That's what they, and every time something that comes at grants for infrastructure, where the grant is a one-time shot that pays for half of it, do we need that piece of infrastructure? We need to will that infrastructure make us money? Will that infrastructure, will a park where the New York State gives us $200,000 for example, that's going to cost $400,000 to build, will that park benefit our community? And the answer may be yes, guys. All right. I'm not saying the answer is always going to be no, but the maintenance falls onto us. The upkeep falls onto us. The wear and tear falls onto us. The removing the garbage, the making sure the lights are on, all of that falls onto us, and it costs us money, which is fine. We get it. But a rational examination of those things needs to happen, and it doesn't happen right now. I know, but because of the structure, they don't have to answer to us, Alice, and they won't. And yes, they try, and yes, a lot of superintendents do. So forgive me, but there's a personal experience in here, and there's a philosophical thing that we're battling. So if I mix it up and I insult people that I consider to be my friends and effective school superintendents, I'm not trying to do that. I know that some of them are school principals. There's effective school principals out there. I get it. Accounting 101, you got it. All right. Okay. We could talk about this. I'm telling you that argument doesn't work anymore. We can say that, but we have to be prepared to back it up with legal action. And I'm telling you, we can't access courts that way. And again, you already understand that. The goal is to localize our decision making and have politicians that understand that, because then that's how it works. All right. Because yes, Lots of things that the government does, lots of things that Cuomo does, lots of things that the New York State legislature, all of your favorite guys, all of them, okay, allowed to happen. All right. So doesn't matter. They did things that are unconstitutional. Now, what do we do about it? We sue them. The only guy that I know that's suing them is Jim Ostrowski, a libertarian from Erie, Pennsylvania. He's suing them on Second Amendment stuff. All right. That's it. It's too expensive. Most lawyers don't want to go to court on things like this. They're not experienced in it. Jim Ostrowski is the only guy I know that's experienced in it. She's hard work. Okay. All right. I see her name down here. I feel as though I voted for her. I could be wrong. I'll have to check out the map, the county map. I know they took an oath to protect the Constitution and our people. And the problem is that, as I'm saying, to avail yourselves in court doesn't happen anymore. We can pretend it does, okay? And we can pretend that we want things that we know to be wrong, okay, and aren't constitutional and are not right. We want to be able to sue somebody on those things. We have to win at the ballot box. Taxes are theft. That's right. Everything and multiple tech. Yes, Coach Nealis and Coach Marks, I believe, are putting together a wrestling season in Oneonta. When TJ got bored with not going to school, and because my ex-wife lives in Oneonta, it's a very simple process for him to just transfer schools. So, and he got to go to school there for like 3 weeks, and then they shut down for COVID too. So I don't know. Anyway, yes, always to the government. It just does, guys. It's just a thing. The liability falls on us too, right? I agree. Yes. It is there is a move to collectivize our decision making, guys. It's just, and by collectivize I mean centralize. All right. That's what we're fighting. That's what we see to be ineffective. That's what we see hurting us. The liability, guys. And guys, this is why Thomas Daniel Quater is my friend. One of the reasons why. All right, the liability does fall on us too, and I think that you guys know that. I think that we do understand that there is a liability on us, incumbent upon us to fight these battles. And so, yeah, all right. I took a month off from the show. I'm going to do more of them. Don't worry, I'm back, sort of. Yes, the government has men with guns, and lots of them. Guys, they took 25,000 people to Washington, D.C. for Joe Biden's inauguration. They were the National Guard from all over the country. I don't know. I whatever. I don't mean to laugh about it. I'm sure some of my liberal friends will accuse me of laughing about the violence at the Capitol. That's not what I'm laughing about. I'm laughing about 25,000 National Guard going to Washington, D.C. with no plan. They housed them in parking garages. Guys, come on, man. They got to be better than that. They got to do better than this. Yes. Yeah, the issue is, and maybe I'm not handling that right. The issue is they can do what they want, and then we have to fight them in court. They can just say, well, that's our interpretation of the law. And then we have the onus upon us to take them to court. And that's where it gets expensive. And that's where it gets next to impossible to find satisfaction. All right, guys, it's been about an hour, and it's always a blast. If I go much longer than this, I get sideways. I'll start talking about 3D printers and whatever, man. Anyways, guys, thank you all for being here. It's very much the comments, all of it, the questions. Yes. If you want me to do more of this stuff, let me know. Like my page, share this. I will do more of it. I always enjoy doing this, especially on a Friday night. As the project that I'm working on up in Mechanicville eases up, I will be able to do more of this. So let's keep this going. Thank you. Yes, we are in the fight together. That's for sure. No matter what, depending on my motivation level, no matter what we're doing is together. Okay. Like we're moving forward on the same track, period. All right. And look, let's remember, it's like, I do have to make a living. I do enjoy working with my body and my brains. That's why I do what I do. So sometimes, that's what I'm going to do, but that doesn't mean that I can't find ways and time to help support these things, man. We're gonna, brother. We will. Yeah, I correct, sir. All right. All right, guys. Thank you all for being here. It's 59 minutes, 48 seconds, and that's all I'm going to do on tonight. But thank you all very much, guys. I appreciate it. Have a great evening. Hopefully, let's all get together soon and do this again. And I'll tell you more about the things that I didn't feel completely comfortable talking about on the broadcast. All right, guys. I'll take care. Have a good evening.